Hello everybody, I'm Katie, welcome to the Book Buddies, and today's video is probably the last video I will be making this year, and probably a few weeks into January as well, because in my last video I told you that I kind of hurt my leg. Well, it's gonna have to get fixed. So I just wanted to have at least one Christmas video up before then, so this is that video, and this video is the Joy of Christmas book tag. This tag was made by Samantha over at Novels and Nonsense. You should check her out if you haven't already, because she's pretty awesome. She really loves fantasy and classics, so if you like either of those, you'll like her. Anyway, the first question of this tag is anticipation. What Christmas excitement, or the Christmas excitement is real? What book release or releases are you anticipating? And unfortunately for me, I don't really keep up with that kind of thing very well. Generally, I will look up the anticipation whatever videos that other booktubers make, and then I just go with that. But what I am super excited about, that I know and am so freaking excited about, are all of the movies coming out next year. I'm so excited. You've got Deadpool and Civil War and Batman and the Suicide Squad, and there's the X-Men Apocalypse. I think the next one's Apocalypse, and they're all just so exciting. There's a bunch more, and I think Doctor Strange is coming out next year too, which has Benedict Cumberbatch in it, and I'm so excited. I can't even handle it. It's so exciting. Oh man, I love those movies. All the movies, all the time, all the superhero things. I love them. I freaking love them. But since that's not book related, I will go back to the other questions. And the second question is Christmas songs and carols. What book or author can you not help but sing its praises? And for this one, I'm going with Neil Gaiman. This is the only book that I actually own of his, but I have listened to The Ocean at the End of the Lane and Coraline, and can I just say, this man makes fantastic atmosphere. It's always a little bit eerie, a little bit on the darker side, but it's never like scary or anything like that. But his writing is very, very atmospheric, and I just really like it. Plus it's just really good writing. He's just a really good writer. I want to collect his stuff because I really, really, really like all the things that I've read / listened to that he's written, such as this one. This one was one of my favorite books last year, and it still is one of my favorite books, so I can't really, not sing Neil Gaiman's praises. And he seems like a really interesting dude. I watched something of his that he was on one time on YouTube for some reason, and he seemed very interesting. A little bit odd, but that's okay, because everyone's a little bit odd, I guess. Question 3. Gengerbread Houses. What book or series has wonderful world building? For this one, I'm actually picking a book that I haven't actually finished, and it is The Search for One Lab by Tony Litzey. And I started this book at the beginning of November, or was it in October? I don't remember. And I got almost halfway through, and I was stuck in my living room at that point, and then I was finally able to move into my room, but I couldn't carry things, so I just left this in the living room thinking that I'd go back to read it, and I forgot that it was in there. But my mom brought it back in here a few days ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I was reading that. Should probably finish reading that. So who knows, I might start reading this after this video. But the world in this thing is so interesting. It's a little like ours, but it's different. It's very different. It's kind of sci-fi. Well, it is sci-fi. But there are different kinds of creatures and the plants, and it's just very interesting. It's very strange. It is very strange, but it's very interesting, and I actually really like this world, this planet that they're on. I can't remember what planet it's called, but It's very cool. It's very cool. Like, you should just read it and find out. Just, here you go. Question 4. A Christmas Carol. Favorite classic or one that you want to read? The only classic, or the only book that I think actually qualifies as a classic is Dracula, and while I do really, really like that book, I wouldn't say it's a favorite of mine. I mean, it's really good, but I think instead I'll go with a book, a classic that I want to read, and I think A Christmas Carol is a classic that I would really like to read because I haven't read it before, and it's Christmassy, and I kind of want to read a Christmas book since I'm going to not be doing anything for a little over a month, and so I just really thought, like, I've been looking for this book specifically, The Christmas Carol, and I think I can get it at Walmart, one of those big anthologies of Dickens stuff. So I think I'm going to get that and read that this year, hopefully. I really want to anyway. But yeah, I don't generally like classics, so I kind of avoid them, but I think I should probably start trying to read them a little bit more. Just for my own sake, I need to be a little bit more cultured in the classics, I think, just because, not that not reading classics is bad, but it's a different type of writing to expose yourself to, and I think I should start reading it a little more. Maybe not a whole lot more, but a little bit more in any way. In any case. Question 5. What book would you love to receive for Christmas? What book would I love to receive for Christmas? Pretty much any of the books that I put on my Christmas list, probably. But there is a box set of Tolkien stuff, like, that I really want, and it's really expensive, and I usually save my more expensive ones for Christmas. Not that I think that I'm gonna get a whole bunch of them, or really any of them probably, but I just like things that I just couldn't buy myself. And it's a box set of Tolkien's writings, and it's one of them I think is the stories of Tom Bombadil. And I really like Tom Bombadil. I was really, like, after reading Lord of the Rings, I was kind of sad that they didn't have him in the movies, because he's a very interesting character. But, I really want that box set, mostly because that box set is very expensive, and I would never be able to buy it myself, or I could never bring myself to buy it for me. Not that I think that my parents should, spend a whole lot of money on me or anything, but that's probably the most expensive thing I have on my list, is that box set. It's the Tom Bombadil and a couple of others. I can't remember what they're called right now, but, which I gotta feel bad for not being able to remember what they're called. But aside from that, it'd probably be Magnus Chase, because I was super excited that it was coming out, and then I didn't ever get it. So, yeah. Question 6. Question 6. Candles in the window. What book gives you the warm fuzzies? This probably doesn't come as a surprise, but I love this book. I adore this book. It is so cute, and it just makes me so happy every time I've read it. I read it, like, so many times. I read it once this year, I think. But I used to have the first page memorized. I read it so often. And the first time I read it in 5 hours. Because I kept putting it down, because I kept needing to go to bed, and then I'd pick it back up and keep reading. But I love this book. Howl's Moving Castle is my favorite book of all time. It beats out Percy Jackson. It beats out Lord of the Rings, although Lord of the Rings is a close second, but this is my favorite book. Forever and of all time. I love this book so much. This book, and even the second book, even though the second book's not quite as good, I still really, really love this story. And the great thing about Howl's Moving Castle is that you don't have to read the second book, or even the third book, because the first book is fantastic all on its own. Heck, I didn't even know that there were 2 other books until I bought the second one, and then after that I didn't even realize that there was a third book until, like, last year, I think. But yes, I really love this book, and I think everybody and anybody and their mothers and their fathers and their sisters and their brothers and their aunts and uncles and grandparents should read this book, because it's phenomenal. And if you don't like it, that's okay, but oh, it just makes me so happy. I love this book. Question 7. Christmas trees and decorations. What are some of your favorite book covers? And one of them is this again, because I just think it's a cute little cover. It's very it's very interesting. You've got Calcifer on the side, you've got the floating castle, you've got Turnip Head, and Sophie walking away like a little old lady. I don't know, I just really think this is pretty. And then the bordering, I really like the border. But, so this one, and then The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black is also one of my favorite covers. I just really like the green offset with the kind of a grayish white and the really stark blue. I just think it's really pretty. It's very aesthetically pleasing, I guess is a good way to say that. And then we've got The Lord of the Rings by The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. This edition I just think is really nice. It's got kind of like a leathery feeling, and it's like nice, and you can open it, and it's not gonna, the spine's not gonna break. And the it's kind of curved right here. I don't know why, but I like that feeling, the curved pages. And then it's just very simple, and it's very pretty, and it's very, this is a fantasy book, but it doesn't like scream elves and all that stuff with some of the things that I've seen. Like, I don't know, but fantasy covers for me, for some reason, are just never really that good. I don't know why, I don't generally like them, but like if they were more like this, I would buy them all the time. Not all the time, because this book was $30. But still, I would be more likely to buy them, because this cover is just really simple and elegant and pretty, and it's still very fantasy, and it looks old. I like that it looks like an old book, kind of. Like it's an old styled way of doing this. And then question 8, the final question, is Christmas joy. What are some of your favorite things about Christmas, and or some of your favorite Christmas memories? We used to have this tradition. We don't really do this anymore, but we used to watch Scrooge every, sorry about that. Don't know if you could hear that, but anyway, we used to watch Scrooge every Christmas Eve, and we don't really do that anymore since my sister went off to college, but we used to do that, and I really liked doing that. And we would watch that, and then we'd go to bed, and then we'd get up, like I would wake up at like 3 or 4, and my parents have always had this rule that we can't get them up before 5. Last year it was we can't get them up before 6, but who knows? It could be 7 this year, I don't know. But anyway, we would go to bed, we'd get up, and then we would all sit around the tree, and somebody was appointed Santa, and it was usually my dad, and he would give each of us kids a present, and then he would take one, or then he would give one to my mom, and then he would take one, and we would go in that order and open them. And then when we were done with all of that, we would eat breakfast, and then we would probably watch Shop Around the Corner. Even though I'm not really a huge fan of that movie, when we don't do that, it feels kind of off. Like we're missing something here, even though I don't really like that movie. It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just not my type of movie, I guess. So that was like what we would do for Christmas, and I always had a lot of fun. I always really liked it. Well, probably not always. I probably complained sometimes, but because I was a kid. But those would be our Christmas. That would what we would do for Christmas. That would be what we would do for Christmas. That makes more sense. Yeah, and it was always really fun. I always really liked it. I like it more that I'm older, though. I probably appreciate it a bit more. But now that I'm older, my siblings are in their 20s, so they don't really like doing well, my sister doesn't mind watching the movie, but my brother doesn't really like watching the movie. I don't know why. He just doesn't really want to have to sit in there the whole time. And my mom's usually asleep by the time we put in Scrooge. This is the night before, but she would usually be in bed by the time we started Scrooge. So last year it was just me and my dad watching it. But that's okay. That's perfectly fine. It was still fun. So anyway, that was the tag. Be sure to go check out Samantha. Like I said, I'm not going to be posting anything else for the year, and probably not for a while in January either, because I got to get my leg fixed, and I don't know if I'd be up, and I don't think that I'd be up to doing all that stuff, so yeah, but I am still updating on our Instagram, and so is Kayleen. If you want to go check that out, it's on our page. It's got like that little box thingy that has all of our social medias, I guess. And I still update on Goodreads, so if you want to go and check out those two things, that'd be awesome. I reorganized my bookshelf because that was a good idea with a bum leg. It took me like 4 or 5 hours, but it was still okay because it's still fun. But I would like do a shelf, and it'd take me forever, and then I'd sit down for however long. But anyway, be sure to go check those out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you so wish, and share. Be sure to share. I keep forgetting to tell people that, but be sure to share our video if you enjoyed it, of course. If you didn't, then you don't have to do anything, I suppose. But yeah. I hope you all have a good Christmas season. I will see you all in like a month. And since I have a book with me this time that I've been reading, I can actually do the outro instead of like a weird Markiplier thing that I wasn't intending on doing. But anyway, see y'all later. Have a good Christmas. Have a good December. Bye. That was a really weird wave, but whatever.